I am doing wonderful. How are you? Ground Dog, welcome back. Everybody else that's not here yet, yeah. So what is going on? Got another exciting day here with BrotherSgtJames. And sorry, I was just looking at the computer and got distracted for a second. Gotta fix this so it's pointed right at me. Come on, camera, work with me here. A little bit of progress. So we got a little bit of progress done off camera. Essentially, come on. I base coated some green and some blue. And a little bit of brown. Turn that off. Not a lot, but got it ready to get really worked on. I get this thing to focus. Focus on my hand. Yeah, I adjusted where the camera was to make it better, and it made it worse. Crank that up. There we go. Crank up the sharpness. Now it's sharp. The Nightbot has returned. Nightbot's in chat. What's up, Nightbot? So what we got here, we got it broken down into segments. So we got Uriel Ventris, still working on this guy. Whoop, there he is. Herm Diggity Uriel. Got him broken down into segments, making him easier to paint. Obviously the backpack takes up a bunch of space in the back. Got the main torso slapped together. Gives you good access to just about everything. Not everything's super easy to get to underneath. Up and underneath there is a pain in the butt. Got his arm taken off because his arm comes across his chest. And I don't want to cover up anything on his chest, make that easier to paint. His separate base, which is actually kind of super cool. Arm and his mug. Whoop. Just a little face action going on there. So today, I got stuff set up to work on torso, arm, mostly the blue. I got almost all GW paints this time actually, which is a good thing. Because, you know, we're going to be working with some McCrag blue, some Calgar blue, some Hoeth blue, and Temple Guard blue, which is going to be the extreme highlight. Extreme! How's the audio coming through? Is it coming through good? I need to shrink this. Yeah, so many blues. This is a very sad marine. Music's coming through. You can hear the music. Alright, awesome. So, I also got brand new number 2 round brush. I got from the craft store. Vienna Artist Loft. Cheap. $8, I think. Has a nice tip to it. Brand new, literally. Considered one of their medium brushes for quality wise. They're not the best brushes, but they're definitely not the worst brushes. So let's crack on painting and hanging out with Ren Dog and anyone else who shows up. Alright. I'm gonna put this away. Got a big old pot of water. Got my palette, wet palette, changed out the Changed out the paper, water, and pad today. Try to keep that off camera though, because that really screws with the color balance. Now, the first color I'm using, I already based this blue. The first color I'm using should be the same color, but it's going to go on differently. It's a base coat color. GW base colors are very pigment heavy and coat very easily. And got them right here, if I can see. And we can even go like this. Whee! I'm gonna be down here painting. Yeah, you can see me. Haha. Neat. The color tone's slightly different than the color I have on there. I have a bunch of Ultramarines, and I painted them over the course of years. I like the Ultramarines. I like them kind of a lot, mostly due to they're pretty good. In the 40k universe, there's not a lot of good guys. Everybody's kind of the bad guy, which is interesting. But they're among the better of the good guys, or of the good bad guys. I don't know how to describe that. It's not uncommon to see Space Marines kill entire populaces because of the individuals. The act of the individual in this universe will definitely is not Spock. It will not. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. The needs of the many are the untold billions. The needs of the few are the millions on a planet or a city or a ship. There's very few people, or very few Space Marine chapters that believe in that, the needs of the few. Salamanders, Space Wolves, Ultramarines usually try their hardest not to let anyone who is good die, or they deem good. Yeah, you can definitely see the color tone on this. The blue I put on there is darker, the initial blue. Just FYI, this was base primed with Adeptus Standard Gray, and then I applied, I gotta find it, Ultramarines contrast paint over that to get this color. The initial blue color I have on here. Several thin coats. Yeah, this color is definitely lighter. This color, we want this, the new color to be lighter. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be layering these paints up on this model. It's going to go from a dark color in the recesses and all the way down at the base of the model. And it's going to get brought all the way up to a very edge highlight of just a tiny bit of this Temple Guard blue. Back when I first started painting Ultramarines, and I was painting significantly large amounts of them, actually had, I think 12 separate, no, that'll actually dry that color. 12 separate colors pre-mixed in order to paint my Ultramarines. That was a little far. Now with the advent of knowing what a wet palette is, and let's see if I can even get that on camera. Hold on. I know I showed it before, but my wet palette, my setup. It's really bright, sorry. So we got our palette, wet palette, water, paints, more paints. Over here we got paintbrushes, lots and lots of paintbrushes. Lots and lots of paintbrushes. And more paints. Everywhere, paints everywhere. Oh, my fat gut. Oh, I should do this, ready? See if he's back there. Guinness! Guinness, say hi to everybody! Hey! Hey, come here! Come on, there he is. There's Guinness, my dog. He's hanging out. He's having a beer. We're actually currently in the process of rescuing another dog. I may get him, I may not. I really want to get him. I need to get another dog. Guinness is getting old in the years, and I don't want to be without a dog when Guinness has to go. And that will happen. It's not something you ever want to talk about or think about, but mortality is around for all of us. Yeah, he is cute. He's a weirdo, though. Guinness is weird. Right, Guinness? Back to moving this forwards. You have any pets out there? Ground dog? A few fish. Fish are cool. If you like fish. Some of them are very pretty. Alright, hold on, I gotta concentrate on this one. Over to his other side, leg. Dog or cat, yeah. Well, obviously, you know, you can't really, I mean, you could pet a fish, but might not like it. He might be like, I'm a fish. Yeah. I knew people that had fish. I had a couple friends that had birds. Birds are kind of cool. They're typically very loud, though. What a lot of people don't know about birds, they live forever. A lot of birds live 15, 20 years. So some people get a bird and they think, oh, it'll, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. 20 years later, still have that bird. Oh, nowhere near the house, huh? You know what it is? Your mom doesn't want to get attached. At least that's the excuse I'll make for her. Or she's highly allergic to him. It's funny because typically in households, dads are like, no, we're not getting a dog. I don't want a dog. I want to take care of a dog. And then they get the dog, and the dad's the best friend of the dog. And that's how it was when I was a kid growing up. My father didn't want to get a dog at all. And when we got a dog, he was the one that loved the dog more than anybody. That's just how it is. So doing this blue, back to talking about actual painting. Well, cleaning up after, there's not that much to clean up after. People say that, and it's like, there's really not. I mean, you got to take a dog out, what, maybe 2 to 3 times a day. Walk them, or let them out in your backyard if you have a backyard. Not everyone has that. That's understandable. If you don't got that. 2 to 3 times a day. Feed them, twice a day. But dogs don't really make messes, typically. I mean, they'll have an accident in the house. Yeah, whoop-de-doo. But that's, if you train your dog properly, that doesn't happen often. Paint there. You also might notice I offset this model on the base. I initially glued them square on the base over it, and I couldn't even get any of this underneath here. It was a terrible idea. Yeah. I think, honestly, it's probably the best thing for anyone, especially someone who has trauma. A pet can help so much. I personally have have some of that issue. And I can tell you that having a dog has saved me a lot. Oh. Excuse me, I'm gonna silence my phone. I just got a message from somebody. So, you said that you know a little bit about Warhammer 40K, Ground Dog, but not a lot. Like one of the guys who used to come on and do streams, you learned a little bit about it. Tiny bit. So what do you know Space Marines? You know their backstory? It's pretty brutal. So I'm going to go through it. Hopefully you find it entertaining. Genetically engineered demi-humans. They're no longer, you can't really consider them human. Genetically engineered, modified, I should say. Not engineered, modified. They're taken from human stock. So on certain planets around certain systems, the Imperium has, a galaxy-spanning Imperium of mankind, the 41st millennia. And in order to protect it, they have different Space Marines chapters. There's 1,000 Space Marine chapters, each with 1,000 men. There's actually probably significantly more than that, and some don't adhere to the 1,000 men policy. But that's neither here nor there. Their men die kind of often because they do nothing but fight war. training and fighting and fighting and training. And they recruit from planets that are particularly hostile. So they'll have a planet that is, they call them death worlds often. Not all Space Marine chapters do this. The Ultramarines don't recruit from a death world. They recruit from the planets in the Ultramar sector, which is actually a well-kept Imperial sector, protected by the Ultramarines, obviously. Their home planet, Ultramar, really great with the naming. Ultramarines, Ultramar sector. You know, these names, top notch. Some of them are better, but so the Ultramarines, they recruit from the planets around in their sector. Some of them are not great. Some of them are agricultural worlds that are designed to raise food to feed the Space Marines, essentially, and the populace. Space Marines don't need to eat regularly, but they do need to eat. They can go days, weeks without eating and maintain their metabolism. They'll lower their metabolism in order to be able to do that. They still do need to eat when they're not stressed themselves out. The recruiting typically starts around the age of 10. Between 10 and 12 years old. Children. And the process is rather brutal. They might have 50 candidates, and they'll draw 0. Oh no, the Spartans are kid stuff. The Spartans will let you, if you don't make it, the Spartans will let you become, artificer or something along those lines. Typically, in the attrition, the 99% attrition rate to become a Space Marine, you die. And if you don't die, they typically make you into a servitor if you don't make it far enough. And if you do make it far enough, they'll make you, you'll become a chapter serf. A chapter serf are partially augmented, usually a lot of steroids and stuff. And they'll be the ones that help the Space Marines, like clean up after them and prep food and all that other jazz. All that other fun stuff that no one would want to do. Because the Space Marines don't do that. The only thing that they do is fight. So, typically, Space Marine, a standard Space Marine, is 8 foot tall, out of power armor. Weighs about 400 pounds, 300 to 400 pounds. 2 hearts, 3 lungs, a second kidney, extra liver, can literally spit poison, can eat the flesh of an enemy and learn their memories. And their lore is pretty ridiculous. They're Supermen. But it's a game. So, it's fun. The process takes about 10 to 15 years to become a standard human boy and become an Ultramarine or a Space Marine. The implants take place over the course of between, like I said, 10 and 20 years of age, human years. And then after that, the human body stops doing things like aging correctly. It doesn't age as much. They do gene sequencing to literally change your genetic makeup, which just causes you to have bones that are harder than steel. I mean, it's just everything that's ridiculous, that can be ridiculous, is ridiculous in the Space Marine. Bones that are harder than steel, low light vision. Essentially, you can see in the dark. Mental acuity. I think it's like they process on the nanosecond, which is like computer speed. So they can do complex processes by the nanosecond, so their reflexes are significantly faster because of that. Well, maybe not because of that, but something that happens to them. Adding the blue. This is the first shade of blue I'm adding onto this blue. So there's a comic book that you can get that GW just released through Marvel Comics, which is actually pretty good. It's very well done. The artwork's fantastic. The story's pretty good. It tells you some neat stuff about a named character in the Ultramarine universe, actually. Marnius Calgar. He's the chief daddy of the Ultramarines right now, discounting their Primarch. Where a Space Marine is to a normal man, a Primarch is to a Space Marine. Primarchs are like 12 feet tall, stronger, faster, bigger, smarter, have legitimate psychic auras that they carry around them that affect normal humans with a state of awe. They're more insane than a Space Marine. There were 20 Primarchs. There are currently 5, I think, that are still alive. Not all of them are human-ish anymore. Half of the Primarchs turned to evil, and the other half fought them. And that was kind of cool, sort of, during a process called the Horus Heresy. If you want to pick up some books, read the Horus Heresy books. You can get them on audiobook. They're pretty good. It looks like I've made almost no progress on this, but what we're going to do now on the legs is we're going to work in some Calgar blue to just show the difference. Good shake. So Calgar blue is like a puce. It's a very, very light blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually mix that and get a little bit more of an intermediate color. It'll also give it slightly better coverage. So this is a layer paint. Layer paints have this weird viscosity, like a jelly viscosity to them. They act differently than the base paints. They don't cover. They're designed not to cover. They're designed to be partially translucent. Oh, you're going in. You're going into the Israeli Defense Force? I've known a couple people who've done that. Just doing some training. Okay. Like, you're doing your mandatory, was it mandatory 2 years that you guys have to do to be a citizen? Oh, 3 years. I thought it was 2, but, you know, I don't live there, so. Yeah, I did 5 years in the military. United States Marine Corps. Hoorah. That was the best mistake I ever made. Wow, this blue is significantly brighter. I don't remember being this bright, but that's okay. I can work with this. What I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to be working with this off camera also, so there's going to be a series of washes, layers and washes applied to blend the colors together. Because I don't want these extreme color differences. It's like on the foot, that's a little much. Really see it on the knee. Uh-oh. Guinness, you okay? You need to go outside? Give me a second, I'm gonna let my dog. It was I who let the dogs out. Guinness, there you go. No, don't eat there. Yeah, if you have the option and they offer a retirement package, do stay in until you're retired in the reserves. I know the part of the world that you said you're in, you are in Israel, correct? Well, that's good too. The military here pay is pretty terrible unless you're a commissioned officer. Get in this foot area. Yeah, getting paid when you're an unemployed student is really nice. That's the draw for a lot of people for the military, especially in the U.S., in poorer neighborhoods. That's the draw is the fact that you get a job and training, and they pay you while you're doing it. And in the U.S., we have programs that pay for your schooling, which is very good, especially if you come from a very low-income family, or and a lot of poverty. A lot of people don't understand there's a lot of poverty in the United States. There's not a way out of it. Not unless you get lucky. Yeah. Ride that wave, buddy. The wave of free education. I use the U.S. we call it the GI Bill. I use that, got myself my education. Very useful. Learned a lot. Mostly that I'm not a very good student. No, teasing. Problem is that the job market is still really crappy here in the States. Very niche. A lot of the positions are very, very niche. So And a lot of positions don't pay well enough. Regardless. Wow, it looks rough. So what I'm going to do, take some of this darker blue. I'm going to bridge the gap between the two. So on my palette, over here, I'm trying to get some of the darker blue, and I'm trying to get it really thin down. Really, really thin down. I'm going to take some of this lighter blue, and I'm going to try and make a median. I'm going to go in. And hit some median on that. Try to blend it in a little bit, at least. Get rid of some of this harsh lining. That's the good part about layering, is that when you layer the paints on, you can always add layers. I can't draw, and but I can paint, which is weird. I think in my mind that's very weird. Painting, the process of painting, the layering just makes sense to me, but drawing doesn't. Yeah, that looks a lot better already. Not there. Need to work this down. Yeah, that should fix that. Let that dry. Yeah, the knee pad looks better. You can always correct. In painting, you can always go back in and put another layer on, or if you make a quick mistake, you can always just smudge it off. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Let's see about this over here. Repair this that I feel like I butchered a little bit. When you get the paint the right consistency, you can almost dab it on. Especially when you got a nice brush. I need to make this color more of a median color instead of going right to the Calgar blue. Calgar blue is a little strong. So now we're going from this dark blue to that light blue to even lighter. Now let's see what this looks like. Oh, that's a lot better. Push that out of the way. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. It's that nice soft transition. Nice soft transition from one color to the other. And you slowly build it up. What I'm going for, I have another model. Where are you? It's been finished. This is what I'm going for. Yeah. Well, you know, we're actually almost at an hour now. I think that's what we're going to call it, though, for the day. We got some progress done. Got a couple layers up on the leg. Got a knee up on it. Yeah, it looks a lot better. The green actually is kind of nice looking. All right, you have a good night too. Thanks for stopping by, Ground Dog. I'll see you on Tuesday. All right, brother? You stay safe. Be careful out there and study hard. Have a good one.